Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney recording for Weaponized News. Today, April 22nd, 2026. We got a lot of sixes today, right? If you add it all up, it adds up to 666. 4 plus 2 is 6. Plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Plus 6, 666. Happy Earth Day to you. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. We have quite a bit to get to today, actually. At least the hot shooting part of the war has calmed down a little bit, but we're in day 54 of the Iran war here now. It's looking like it could crank back up at any time to, what it was before. Just, a week ago or whenever the fake ceasefire was announced, right? Man, we're right on the edge. Right on the edge. I guess Trump hasn't threatened to blow up civilization yet today. But we got some Earth Day reporting for you. It looks like Trump is saying that he saved the lives of 8 fake AI women that were set to be executed in Iran. We're losing the information war badly. That is, the United States government is losing the information war, the propaganda war badly. Badly. And this nonsense doesn't help. When Trump's putting out fake posts that he's saving AI characters. We'll cover that. The latest back and forth between Iran, America, and the Iran war as it continues on here. We got new Lego videos. New Lego videos have come out. We'll play those for you. We got some domestic political news. We got a dead congressman. We got 3 resigned, and Secretary of the Navy resigned. So we'll cover that, those details. We got a little technocracy news. We have economic news. More about this. We have some public health news. Another scientist missing. What we got? We got these. Maybe these tie in. I don't know. David Wilcock. He died to suicide, and this other scientist woman, what was her name? Amy Eskridge. She's now missing or dead. Is she dead? I think she's dead. Anyway, missing or dead scientist. That is continuing. What else do we got there? I guess we'll take a little look at the indictment again today by the Justice Department on the Southern Poverty Law Center. Take another look at that. The DOJ continues to cover up the Epstein files. That's going on. And the massacres and ethnic cleansing there in Gaza and Lebanon are continuing. It's quite horrific. Aardvark just whacked another 5 Palestinians, 3 of them children. It's quite horrific. Quite horrific, and they're going about the leveling of southern Lebanon as they leveled Gaza. We get all that and much more on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you for joining us. We don't have Ruckus on the line today. We'll get him on the line tomorrow, hopefully. So you can't get any Ruckus on Weaponized News today, sorry. But tomorrow we'll get him on, hopefully. All right, let's get to this day in history, as we do have quite a bit of news to get to. On this day in our history, of April 22nd we go back to the year 1500. On this day in the year 1500, Pedro Cabral is the first European to discover Brazil, landing near Monte Pascoal and claiming it for Portugal. And now they speak Portuguese in Brazil, the prevailing language there. 1521, on this day, France declares war. French King Francis I declares a war against the Holy Roman Empire, Charles V, and the Habsburg Empire. On this day in 1526, we saw the first slave revolt in North America. It occurs at San Miguel de Guadalupe, a Spanish settlement now part of South Carolina. On this day in 1601, we saw the first expedition of the English East India Company to the Spice Islands of Malacca departs Tor Bay. On this day in 1692, we saw the Salem witch trials. Edward Bishop is jailed for proposing flogging as a cure for witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm sure beating the hell out of them really cures that alleged witchcraft going on there. On this day in 1871, all German aardvarks emancipated after the German Constitution adopted by its last state, Bavaria. And so we know what went on to happen after that. So setting the table for the aardvarks. 1897. On this day, we saw the first aardvark newspaper in New York City, The Forward, begin publishing, still active today. 1898, on this date, we saw the first Spanish-American war action. The USS Nashville captures a Spanish ship. 1915, on this day, we saw the first military use of poison gas occur when Germany used chlorine gas against the Allies along the Western Front in France in World War I. And now they just use chemical weapons on the general population for fun and say it's for your public health. Isn't it wonderful how we progressed? 1933. On this day, the Dutch government forbids left-wing radio address. The next year, 1934, Little Bohemian Lodge raid, U.S. Division of Investigation, later the FBI, under Melvin Purvis, botch an operation to capture the John Dillinger gang at Little Bohemia Lodge, resulting in 2 dead and 4 injured. So there you go. I wouldn't be surprised if they're working behind the scenes with the John Dillinger gang at this point. 1952. On this day, we saw the first atomic explosion shown on network news from the Nevada test site. And is that part of a larger PSYOP, part of the Cold War, to essentially blackmail the world into believing if we don't go along with the idea that the Russians are going to nuke us, then we can't have a Cold War. We can't have all this fear-based, trauma-based mind control campaign. We can't have a never-ending black hole of funding, fighting the Russians in the Cold War. We can't have any of that if they don't roll out the fear The fear of the atomic explosion shown on network news. 1952 on this day. Think of it. Think of it. 1967 on this day, martial law goes into effect in Greece. 2 years later, 1969, on this day, we saw the first human eye transplant performed. 1970, the first Earth Day is celebrated, founded by Gaylord Nelson. Now I saw some crazy story. It's hard to even know. There's so much fake BS out there, right? But I saw some story, a kid, I forget even, but it was like the parents named the kid Gaylord and he sued the parent, something, who knows, could be fake. Anyway, Gaylord Nelson, founder of Earth Day, 1970. On this day, 1976, we saw Barbara Walters become the first female nightly news anchor in America for ABC News. Go Womans. 1981, on this day, more than $3.3 million is stolen from the First National Bank of Arizona in Tucson in one of the largest bank robberies in U.S. history. They made away with more than 3.3 million on this day. And in 1981, that was quite a bit of money. Still quite a bit of money today, but back then, that's quite a bit of money. In 2021, on this day, India sets the world record for daily bat cases, recording 314,834 new cases with 2,104 deaths. And all I could say about it is go look at the PCR test and Carrie Mullis and take a look at that. All right, moving forward here. Here's our segue to the news. The celebration doesn't end for Aardvark land independence, as this guy just can't get off the wall. So, of course, that's Argentinian President Javier Milei, self-proclaimed world's biggest Zionist president. Former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. I'd show you the clip, but they always tag you for copyright. I think this is on ZBS. He was on the comedy show. What is it called? The Colbert Report. That idiot show. Anyway, he was on there, and we got the clip, but again, they'll tag me for copyright. I'll just read you the gist of it. Former Secretary of State John Kerry never saw a climate scam he didn't love, right? This character. Skull and Bones Man as well. Can't forget that. When he was running against old Bush for president. So that shows you how, you want to talk about rigged elections, everything's fake. Think of it. We had John Kerry and George Bush, two members of a very elite Yale secret society, Skull and Bones, running as Democrat and Republican for President of America way back when. Remember that? Yeah. It's been rigged and fake for a very, very, very long time, if it was ever real. Anyhow, he went on the Colbert, however you say his stupid name, the comedian late night show dude on ZBS. And he said, Netanyahu presented the Iran war case to us. The response was no. The prediction was regime change, that people would rise up, and none of that happened. Obama said no. Bush said no. Biden said no. We were lied to about what the war was about. The lesson of Vietnam and Iraq is don't lie to the American people. Don't ask us to send our sons and daughters to fight for a lie. Can't argue with old. I don't know about the. Well, I think it's been pretty well. It's been pretty well documented and reported that Netanyahu's selling the idea that Iran's going to nuke us in 2 weeks for what, last 47 years, I guess. According to Trump, we've been at war with Iran for 47 years. No, he's been trying to sell the idea at least since the 80s, right? Since the late 80s, maybe even before then. And what do you know? Trump bought the idea. Is he blackmailed? Is he just a evil man? Is it a combination? Who knows? Who knows? But it doesn't. I mean, he flat out lied. Okay, because again, I got to go find the report of the. Because I remember at the time, very underreported here now, but we had confirmation from Joe Kent, and we reported at the time. The vaunted intelligence community, the all-seeing eye with cameras up everybody's rear end, they know all, right? And they told the Senate before this war kicked off that Iran was not an imminent threat to the United States. And we had Rubio come out and say it, little Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, say, yeah, well, they were going to whack aardvark, so we had to do something. Sure, buddy. And so, yeah, it's all based on lies. And Trump just continues to lie. Now he's become a compulsive liar, it seems. It really is starting to look that way because he just continues to lie. We're in a bad spot here in America because now it's looking like Republicans. What's the difference? I mean, at this point, what is the difference? Republicans are going to lose the midterms. Democrats are going to sweep. And we're going to spend another 2 years impeaching Trump, fighting Republicans. Maybe that's the best, honestly, if we can get gridlock out of this whole thing and stop the advancement of technocracy, stop the advancement of any new major wars. Maybe that is the best thing, is to just have gridlock. And we got to win the next election, the Republicans, the midterm. They haven't done jack. They literally haven't done jack, except for start a war, do a bunch of regime change operations, throw MAGA and Maha, original principles, under the bus. What have they done? Like, seriously, worship aardvark land even harder. You know what I mean? So does it even matter? The government's corrupt beyond our imagination. We got the report still. Nancy Mace today calling again for all Congress involved in the cover-up of the sex harassment slush fund to resign, right? I mean, come on, man. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter. Don't matter. All right. On to Earth Day. Here's the meme of the day out of the White House. Earth Day. And Trump cares a whole lot about Earth. That's why he put glyphosate under national security, right? Right. Because it's for national security, to poison the earth. There you go. And it's not just glyphosate, it's a bunch of these pesticides. We covered a bunch of them. They destroy the environment, kill all the bugs, frogs, wildlife, kill you down the road, kill everything. But what the hell? You know what I mean? Winds up undermining agriculture in the long run. You got to, they're still trying to force it all farmers onto GMO seeds, right? That the Terminator seed and all this, where it doesn't even produce the next season. You have to go back to Monsanto, Bayer, or one of these GMO seed companies. They're the big one, right? And buy the seeds from them. That whole racket, while you douse everything in glyphosate. Man, we're in bad shape. The environment's in bad shape here. They're the geoengineering going on. Happy Earth Day. Happy Earth Day from NASA. They say, it's our home. This Earth Day, see our planet as our Artemis 2 astronauts saw it with these images from space. Again, do we believe this? I have a hard time believing anything the government says. Allegedly, these are Earth from Artemis 2. That's what they claim. Those are some nice images there. All right, more on Earth Day here. The United States Trade Representative, account on the X, said this Earth Day, United States Trade Representative is digging up foreign trade practices that undercut American workers, contaminate global supply chains, and harm the environment and local communities. I like how they just ignore the fact that it's well established that GMOs are poison crap, right? And we brag about exporting all this corn all over the world. Yeah, great job. But they did I'll blast through these. They did a thread on the X. They say studies estimate that nearly 50% of the wood harvested in Brazil and 90% of the timber from the Brazilian Amazon is illegal, depressing wood prices and devastating U.S. producers. Complying with environmental laws. Remember when they did the what was it, the climate summit in Brazil? Remember they carved out a runway for their private jets in the Amazon rainforest and then screamed at us about the environment? Remember all that? Yeah. India shrimp producers are backed by government subsidies for fuel, equipment, infrastructure development, and export promotion, which, along with weak environmental and labor practices in India's shrimp aquatic culture industry, create an uneven playing field for U.S. shrimpers. The government of Laos is known to be actively engaged in a knowingly profiting from the tracking of highly endangered species, including trafficking of highly endangered species, including tigers and rhinos. Illicit gold accounts for 45% of total gold mining activity in Bolivia, according to public reported estimates, disadvantaging U.S. companies following environmental laws and labor standards. Yeah, we should just, let me get through this. Nigeria is a well-known transit point for wildlife smuggling from Central and West Africa to buyers in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. This undercuts legitimate regulated trade and infects global supply chains with illicit products that can reach American consumers. Oh my gosh. Mexican fishing vessels, often linked to transnational criminal organizations, routinely cross into U.S. waters in the Gulf of America. They got that right, for Trump, to harvest fish stocks, including red snapper, grouper, and shark. And so we just blow them up, right? No. In 2025, U.S. fish imports from Mexico totaled $646.9 million, with $602 million in snapper alone. Yet illegal imports are often sold well below market value, further depressing the Gulf Coast red snapper market. Yeah, you guys created a black market there for red snapper. Good job, government. An estimated 47% of timber sold in Colombia is of illegal origin, with much of the illegal timber that is harvested in Colombia reportedly laundered into supply chains, disadvantaging American producers and manufacturers. I didn't even know there's such a thing as illegal timber. We got a whole bunch of timber up here in California, Sierra Nevada mountains, and they just let it burn. So that's how we take care of any problems there. We just flick a cigarette, call it climate change, and watch a fire. It's a disaster. Continuing, illegally mined gold from South Africa contaminates the legal gold supply chain because undeclared gold from South Africa is smuggled and sold to refineries in the United States, providing illegal mining operations with competitive advantage. The European Union's distant water fleet, enabled by fishery subsidies, harms the sustainability of fisheries resources by depleting already overfished stocks and undermines U.S. fishermen's livelihood by distorting the true cost of seafood sold in markets. And then Vietnam is a source of a major transit. It's a destination, a major transit hub of wildlife trafficking products and their derivatives, including rhinos, tigers, and pangolins. I know, scary, right? Pangolins. Pangolin Union still has a grievance against the bat time when they were part of the conspiracy. Remember? They blamed the pangolins. So a lot of smuggling of exotic wildlife for sure, and timber and gold there on this Earth Day. We're reminded by the United States Trade Representative's Office. And then we had Carrie Pay tagged me on the X with a few stories tying into Earth Day here. Shout out to Carrie, a subscriber. Thank you very much, Carrie, for your subscription and also the stories that you tag us on. This one, she says it was a story out of the LA Times. California marks biggest state park expansion in 3 decades with 3 new mid-state parks. And she said, I was 16, watched the Santa Barbara oil spill that pictures on nightly news, birds and seals, otters covered in oil, creating Earth Day in 1967. What do we say? 1970 was the official founding of it, right? But yeah, that is referenced, the oil spill off of the coast there of Southern California, off the coast of Santa Barbara, for sure. So the 3 new parks are Feather River in Yuba County, which is just north of Sacramento, so a little bit north here in California. San Joaquin River Parkway near Fresno, that's where I'm at. And Dust Bowl Camp in Bakersfield. So there was already a park at the San Joaquin River Parkway. I've been there. And the state just slaps their sticker on it and says, look at us. Look what we did. We opened a new state park. That's funny. I've been there, though. It's a nice little trail to hike on the San Joaquin River Parkway. All right. A little bit more here on Earth Day. What else did we have? We had this post I found interesting about the UN goals for sustainable development. Sandy Adams says she's a research writer into the World Economic Forum and UN agenda. First time I saw her work, and she was, I think I got to her through somebody at David Icke's outfit. Anyhow, she goes on to say, in the series where I look at the hidden meaning behind UN sustainable goals, today I'm looking at 13 and 14. I'm going to have to go look at more of her work. And there's her Substack there. Goal 13 centralizes climate policy in the hands of global institutions, reducing national sovereignty and democratic accountability. It justifies sweeping economic and social controls such as restrictions on energy use, travel, and industry, creating a minimal circular economy with disproportionate impacts on ordinary people. Climate change narrative accelerates technocratic governance systems without public scrutiny or debate, top-down technocratic overreach. And that's goal 13 there, climate action. With the earth in the eye, isn't it also nice? There's symbolism there. Goal 14 limits fishing and livelihoods, centralizes food supply chains, and gives corporations' control over mineral rights, expands international control over oceans in ways that can sideline national interests and local fishing communities, increased regulation and restricted access to marine resources, benefiting large corporate or institutional actors over small independent operators, conservation measures used to advocate broader governance frameworks, and surveillance of maritime activity without democratic oversight. Number 14, their life below water. And then 13, the world in the all-seeing eye there. Isn't that wonderful? Climate Action 13. So I'll have to take some more looks at Sandy Adams' work there, but I do like that little breakdown on this Earth Day that she gave us there. Okay, a little bit from Dane Wigington. And I have been a little bit critical of Dane, and I do appreciate his work, but I think we have to, there are such a thing as contrails. Okay, that's a thing. Not every freaking trail in the sky is a chemtrail, okay? And I do understand there is a bunch of geoengineering programs going over all over the place. There's reports they're using radar systems, the HARP, the spraying of the chemtrails. I mean, they're using all kind of different ways to manipulate and control and quote control the weather here now, right? And so I'm not trying to disparage in any way the great work of Dane Wigington at geoengineeringwatch.org. I do think he's a little bit too doomerish. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just not doomerish enough. I don't know. Anyhow, here's a clip, a short clip from Dane Wigington's The Dimming, where he's talking about the dying of the trees. And that is true. You can witness it here in California. I have witnessed it when you drive up to the mountains to Sierra Nevada. And we've been seeing it for, I don't know, last 10, 15 years. They're giant patches of all these pine trees just dead, big old trees, and it's just dead. Like, what's up? What's up? Is it the aluminum fallout and other heavy metal fallout, specifically the aluminum from the geoengineering, that's causing the trees not to have their water uptake blocked once it all settles down in the soil? That's one theory out there. Let's take a look at this clip from the Dimming, Dying of the Trees, Dane Wigington. geoengineeringwatch.org.
The silence is absolutely deafening. That's what the canopy looks like. Dead. He's just died. Quite simply, the whole forest is imploding. Dead branches everywhere. Again, another example. Very large fir, perhaps a 200 or 300 year old specimen, now dead. 12 to 14 years ago, you couldn't find a dead tree here. And now they're virtually everywhere. The climate engineering operation is such a core part of what's devastating forests all over the globe. But there can be no legitimate discussion about the climate or the state of the climate without first and foremost addressing the climate engineering operations. Governments around the globe have long since subjected populations and the entire web of life to an experiment from which there is no return. An experiment that has completely derailed Earth's life support systems.
Sorry about that. I just noticed no audio on that. What's up with that? Let me fix that for you. Sorry about that. Now we should have audio on that. If we didn't before, I don't think we did. There we go. Let's try it again. Apologies for that.
That's what the canopy looks like. Dead. He's just died. Quite simply, the whole forest is imploding. Dead branches everywhere. Again, another example. Very large fir, Perhaps a 200 or 300-year-old specimen, now dead. 12 to 14 years ago, you couldn't find a dead tree here. And now they're virtually everywhere. The climate engineering operation is such a core part of what's devastating forests all over the globe. But there could be no legitimate discussion about the climate or the state of the climate without first and foremost addressing the climate engineering operations. Governments around the globe have long since subjected populations and the entire web of life to an experiment from which there is no return. An experiment that has completely derailed Earth's life support systems, that is killing trees. There are countless forms of flora that are dying, the fauna, the insects. The entire forest is withering away. If the forest dies, we die. If the oceans die, we die. If the protective layers of the atmosphere collapse, we die. All of it's happening, and climate engineering is further fueling the entire process. It is the single greatest threat we face, short of nuclear cataclysm. The silence is absolutely.
See, a bit doomerish for me, but maybe he's right. They are doing all these crazy experiments all over the place with no oversight whatsoever, and the trees are dying. They blame it on the bark beetle where I'm at here. They say, oh, it's this bark beetle that's eating the trees. Really? You know what I mean? But he's not wrong about the trees. I've seen it with my own eyes. Same as him up there in the forest. I think he's probably up there in I think he's up there in Northern California, but same kind of idea going on there. Let's see. Okay, what about the environmental impacts of this war going on? They're blowing up energy infrastructure all over the place, and none of this can be good for the environment, can it? No, I don't think it can. When oil facilities, chemical plants, and weapons depots are bombed, toxic residues accumulate in soil, enter waterways, and travel across borders. And so, yeah, they're remember at the beginning of the Iran war, and they bombed the hell out of their petrol factories, and they had like a day of black rain coming down. Remember that? Like out of apocalyptic hellscape, right? So, yeah, they've created quite an environmental disaster with all these bombings, and that's one part I kind of don't get. But they're just aardvarks they're destroying the land too in the process, right? But I guess they don't care, or somebody suggested maybe they have some new technologies going to clean it all up or something. But they're destroying Gaza, now southern Lebanon. Like, how do you go live on that afterwards? I guess they have some new technology that they're going to use to clean the place up, but they've turned it into an environmental disaster as well as an apocalyptic hellscape of rubble and dead bodies. So, yeah, they go through all the details. It's destroying the environment, obviously. The war effort here now. And then one more from Carrie Pay. This was a report out of the New York Compost. 2 killed in West Virginia chemical plant. And multiple people hospitalized after a chemical plant leak there in West Virginia. For your Earth Day. It's Earth Day. USA Today says why it's celebrated and activities you can do. Let's go through some wholesome activities here that we can do on this Earth Day. Well, I'd say number one thing, you can plant your victory garden and grow it organically would be one thing. But the list from USA Today, they say volunteer at a beach or park cleanup. You could not litter. I mean, you could not do a lot of things as well. Cooking a meal with sustainable produce, signing a petition relating to helping the earth. That's not going to help. Sorry to tell you guys that. Calling and writing your politicians about climate issues you're concerned about. Boy, did we ever try to. I went to the Air Resources Board here in Fresno, California, and with a group of activists, and to to express our concern about the geoengineering chemtrails, right? And they literally pulled the fire alarm in that place and had the freaking highway patrol come. And it was me and a bunch of little old ladies. And they said we're like a threat to them or something. That's what you get. That's what you get when you go to the California Air Resources Control Board and tell them, what about, and then they deny, gaslight you, act like you're crazy. And then they finally, okay, they admit it. Okay, we admit that's going on. And then we say, well, then do something. Stop it. This stuff's pollution. It's air pollution. You guys are Air Resource Control Board. It's kind of your thing. And they said, well, after they do all this drama, right? And then we're like, we're not leaving. You guys are acting like goofballs over here. And they finally say, okay, that's going on, the spraying, but it's not in our jurisdiction. And so there's nothing we can do about it. That's federal airspace, they tell us. And that was what we got out of the Air Resources Control Board. So calling and writing your politicians doesn't work. Sorry to report to you here. If you call them about some fake, CO2 BS or whatever, then they'll probably listen. But about real concerns, not so much. They call the California Highway Patrol on you and say you're a threat with literally little old ladies. And it's like, you guys, man, go to a composting workshop, they say. Do we really need a composting workshop? Just I have a little compost pile that I created next to my garden. I'll have to take some photos or do a video or something. It's going pretty good right now. Actually, the plants are doing well. Plant some pollinator-friendly flowers, either in your yard, balcony, or window planter. That's true. That's true. As all of these pesticides, the glyphosate and the rest of it, are killing off our pollinator bug friends. And we need that to keep the freaking ecosystem going. But I guess not if everybody's robots and the technocrats live in their freaking bunkers. Then they don't. And what are they going to eat? 3D printed fake meat, lab grown chicken? Who knows, man? But we definitely do need the bees and the rest of the pollinators healthy. Swap from single-use plastic to a reusable bottle. I would add to that, don't even drink out of plastic if at all possible. Always use glass, because you got the bisphenol A. I forget even the next one up. All these chemicals they use are leaching out when it gets hot. It leaches out, gets in the water, and then now you're drinking the forever chemicals, the BPA, and all this other garbage, right? So that's a good one. But I would say avoid plastic in your kitchen and in your everyday use, if at all possible, as much as possible. I understand sometimes you're on the run, you're thirsty. I just need a drink of water. Then you got to drink some plastic bottle of water. But for regular use, yeah, use glass, please, or stainless steel. But glass. Limit how much single-use plastic you use in a day. Yeah. Listen to a podcast about the earth. That's a funny one. And they also say, believe all NASA lies. No, I made that up. But yeah, there's a couple things you can do on this Earth Day. Couple things you can do. It's all up to us. Don't be a litter bug. I mean, we wouldn't have to organize to go do cleanups if you weren't a pig and threw your garbage everywhere. You know what I mean? Be a responsible adult, for crying out loud. I know that's challenging for most out there. Okay, so happy Earth Day. And we got a lot of issues. Again, the geoengineering, all the pesticides, the glyphosate. They're poisoning the hell out of this planet. They are poisoning the hell out of this planet, for sure. But hey, extreme heat is pushing global agri-food systems to the brink, threatening the livelihoods and health of more than 1 billion people, according to a new report out of the United Nations. There's also the issue of they cut off a bunch of fertilizer, cut off a bunch of seed supply. So the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Meteorological Organization said heat waves are becoming more frequent, intense, and prolonged, damaging crops, livestock, fisheries, and forests. Extreme heat is rewriting the script on what farmers, fishers, and foresters can grow and when they can grow it. But see, again, they leave out a lot of other factors that are contributing to all of this. And that's never addressed, right? Because it's the greenhouse gases, it's the CO2. They've set up all this carbon market, right? So they can virtue signal, I'm a good environmentalist. I bought some carbon credits, but you're freaking spraying glyphosate all over the backyard. I bought climate credits, right? And so, but that's how they do it, right? You're like, but your factory over there is putting out all kind of real pollution. All the ducks next door in the pond are dead. They're like, oh, I bought climate credits from John Kerry. What do you want out of me? You know what I mean? So it's just like, come on, man. There's real things we can do, right? There's real things, but as with everything, they play all these games. Continue to play these games. So we're going to get to net zero one way or another, it appears. And they've opted now, instead of, shaming everybody for their CO2 emissions, now we're just going to blow up the world's energy supply. Maybe that'll shut everything down. We have some more reporting about that. I think, what is it? I think we have a retired or an ex oil company executive talking about we're getting to net zero. You know what I mean? So we have that clip. Okay. Back to this. You can't compromise on sanity and common sense, Trump says. Somebody should, Congress, actually somebody, Congress should, 25th Amendment his butt. His own administration should actually. The Pentagon suddenly reduced. Now they're rigging up the numbers here. Shocking, I know. The Pentagon suddenly reduced the official casualty count by 15 wounded troops with no explanation. Total casualties went from 428 to 413 or 411, depending on the report, right? Raising suspicion. Sources and former officials say the system tracking casualties, DCAS, might be undercounting or omitting hundreds of injuries. Some cases, like shipboard injuries or illness deaths, aren't being included at all. At least one reported death of Major Shorefly Darvius is missing from official tallies. And that's according to a report out of The Intercept here. So, yeah, they're playing with the numbers here. Playing with the numbers about the dead and injured U.S. soldiers. So, I know, shocking, the government's lying again. Well, we've won the war 54 times now today, right? Even though we're still in the Iran war, we've won it 54 times, according to Trump. I don't know if it's quite that many, but it's numerous times he's claiming we've won the war. But yet, here we are still in the war. ZBS News reports Iran retains significant military capability despite U.S. claims of decimation. Trump said we've destroyed their army, navy, air force, regime change. Strait of Hormuz is closed, semi-closed, and Khomeini's still in charge. ZBS News goes on to report Iran maintains substantial military capabilities despite U.S. claims of having largely destroyed its forces. citing ZBS News citing multiple U.S. officials familiar with intelligence assessments. And now they're saying out of the White House, well, ZBS News are a bunch of traitors. Really? Have you seen the owners? Officials said that about half of Iran's ballistic missile stockpile and launch systems remained intact at the start of the ceasefire in early April, while roughly 60% of the naval arm of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, including fast attack boats, is still operating. We blew up their navy, Trump said. We sunk it to the bottom of the sea. Hegseth said that as well. Turns out not so much. And the casualties and injuries are a lot higher than reported as well. The report added that Iran's air power has been heavily degraded but not eliminated, with around 2/3 of its air force still believed to be functional after extensive U.S. aardvark land strikes on thousands of targets. Officials have also noted that Iran retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones capable of threatening U.S. and allied forces across the Persian Gulf. With the IRGC naval units continuing to disrupt shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, the findings contrast with statements by Trump and Hegseth, who described the assault known as Operation Epic Fury, as having decimated Iran's military, while the Pentagon claims more than 13,000 targets were struck and much of Iran's conventional navy destroyed. Officials cited by ZBS warn the remaining capabilities still pose a significant threat. Trump says they're begging for a deal. More on it here. Around 50% of Iran's ballistic missiles and launch systems are still intact. About 60% of Iran's naval forces, especially small attack boats, are still attacking. Roughly 2/3 of Iran's air force is still operational, despite heavy strikes. We won the war already. I don't know what ZBS is talking about. Iran's Ghalibaf had this to say. He says a complete ceasefire only makes sense if it is not violated by the maritime blockade and the hostage taking of the world's economy, and if the Zionist warmongering across all fronts is halted. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz is impossible with such a flagrant breach of the ceasefire. How could that be? They did not achieve their goals through military aggression, nor will they through bullying. The only way forward is to recognize the rights of the Iranian nation. What the hell? Who's this guy? We regime changed him already, but yet he's still there. And yet he's still there. Financial Times reports that Pakistan, they're trying to act as the middleman here, right? The peaceniks, they got nukes, by the way. Pakistan's army chief is the unlikely broker of U.S.-Iran talks, but faces mounting doubts over his neutrality and ability to secure a deal. It's not. They said what? Yesterday they were supposed to be meeting today, and they said, well, no, we're not going to meet there in Islamabad. Iran said we're not going to meet there because it's just like Ghalibaf said, there's no ceasefire. You guys are continuing the genocide. You guys are playing all these games. And so, what's the point of it? Try to whack these guys, the negotiators, and say, well, see, they didn't want peace. They got whacked. The continuing theme here now. It's just unbelievable. Okay, the latest here. Let me read you the latest from Dropsite News. They say on last night, a senior Iranian official who has direct access to Tehran's internal deliberations told Dropsite News that Iran would move forward with a second round of talks in Islamabad only if Trump extended the ceasefire and ended the U.S. naval blockade. The Pakistani side indicated that they expect Trump to lift the naval blockade, the official said. If that happens and the ceasefire is extended, a new round of talks will be held on Thursday. Again, as long as you have the apocalyptic death cult Aardvark clan carrying out their program, none of this is going to matter, right? You can talk all day, but as long as they're stealing building the greater Aardvark land project, genociding Gaza, we got a bunch of reports, daily attacks on the occupied West Bank, and then go ahead and stealing all of southern Lebanon, right? As long as all that's going on, then we have nothing to negotiate about, actually. Because what are they going to say? Oh, yeah, we promise. And then 2 seconds later, they whack a bunch of more Lebanese or Palestinians or whoever. Maybe they'll move up to, I don't know, Syria. Maybe they'll move up to crazy talk about them attacking Turkey. I don't see how that would happen, but who knows? They're freaking crazy. Continuing here, President Trump yesterday morning told CNBC he would not extend the ceasefire, only to flip hours later in the face of the Iranians. We reported on all that. Is there anything new? The newest is just like, huh? Yeah, I think it's been clear. We've reported on it. Anything of any significance here? Iranian officials have said they would not engage in preemptive strikes, but will respond militarily to any attacks. Rather than a comprehensive deal, the senior Iranian officials told Dropsite News he believes a more likely scenario would involve the U.S. through Pakistan mediation, shaping a de facto end to the war without any formal declaration. This would leave the major issues unresolved and the possibility for a resumption of the war in the future. Yeah. That's where we're at with it. Glenn Greenwald posted this. He says, one of the most amazing aspects of the Iran war is that they excavated the people who sold the Iraq war to the American public to sell this, and they are using the exact same script they used for Iraq. Probably the reason the Iran war has been so unpopular from the start. And he's referencing this clip posted by Information Liberation, Chris Meehan, Fox News clip here of Washington Post columnist, giant neocon Mark Thiessen. Let's watch this clip. Same propaganda selling us the Iraq war. So we deserve better propaganda. And we got clips coming up. We're losing the information war. We're losing the propaganda war. And for as much taxes as we pay these clowns, we deserve much better propaganda than what we're getting.
What happens after 72 hours if they don't come to the table? What do you think should happen?
Well, if there are two factions in Iran, one that wants a deal and one that doesn't want a deal, let's kill the ones that don't want a deal. If it's that simple, we've killed over 50 Iranian leaders so far. Let's go back.
How's this guy legitimate? Just saying kill people on Fox, on the War Channel. Fox. How's that legitimate? You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're a sick freak.
let's end the ceasefire and finish the job. Admiral Cooper has taken out about 70 to 80% of the targets he was assigned. There's another 20 to 30% to be done. Let's finish that. Let's take out the leaders who don't want to deal, and then we threaten to destroy Karg Island if they don't give us the nuclear dust and bring them back to the table. Then I mean, it's clear that they're.
You say Admiral Cooper has a plan to open up the strait in quickly.
Absolutely. Look, Iran needs a deal. Trump does not. Trump can end this war without a deal. You go back, you finish the target list that he gave Admiral Cooper. You open up the Strait of Hormuz. Admiral Cooper has a plan to do that. He's got electronic warfare, counter-drone technology, and once you take out the remaining 20 to 30% of their ballistic missile capacity, the threat dissipates. And then we've already blockaded Karg Island. We can tell them, look, if you don't give us the nuclear dust, we'll destroy Karg Island and we'll destroy your economy, and you'll have them in a complete vice. So Trump is being very generous, giving them this extra time. It shouldn't last very long. He doesn't need the deal. They do, and come to the table. And if they won't, eliminate the leaders who are the obstacle to it.
What a load of shit! This guy's advocating for war crimes on Fox News. Man, these people are sick. U.S. Central Command reported earlier today, they say U.S. forces have diverted 29 vessels to turn around or return to port as part of the U.S. naval blockade against Iran. Over the past 24 hours, media reports have alleged that several commercial ships evaded the blockade. These reports are inaccurate. I love how U.S. Central Command's debunking media reports all the time now. It's just beyond. We deserve better propaganda than this. Hero 2 and Hattie did not sail past the blockade as part of a flotilla that ferried millions of barrels of oil to the market. In fact, Iranian flagged tankers are anchored in Bara, Iran, after being intercepted by U.S. forces earlier this week. The U.S. military has global reach. American forces are operating and enforcing the blockade across the Middle East and beyond. We know. You guys are going around jacking piracy on the high seas all over the place. Remember that one they were so proud of? The sanctioned vessel they tracked. Reportedly, they tracked all the way to the Indian Ocean and jacked it over there. It's just wow. War crime after war crime after war crime. And then here's bobblehead, Leavitt, press secretary lady, on the seizure of the ships.
I want to ask you about these ships that Iran seized. We're continuing to get reporting on this. Does the seizure of 2 ships, as we said, they were Greek and Mediterranean owned ships with cargo on them, and the reports are that Iran basically seized them and then moved them into Iranian waters. We don't know what's going to happen to these crews. We're not sure where all of this is going. Does the president view that as a violation of the ceasefire?
No, because these were not U.S. ships. These were not Israeli ships. These were 2 international vessels. And for the American media, who is sort of blowing this out of proportion to discredit the president's facts, that he has completely obliterated Iran's conventional navy, these 2 ships were taken by speedy gunboats. Iran has gone from having the most lethal navy.
They have no navy, but they do have speedy gunboats that can pirate ships. You see? And so it's all just in the semantics of their propaganda, and it's not very good even at this point. It's getting embarrassing. They say Iran has gone from having the most lethal navy in the Middle East to now acting like a bunch of pirates. Isn't that exactly what the U.S. Navy's doing? Oh, but we're America. We're America. We do have the world reserve currency, the dollar, and that's what's propping this whole thing up. The all-seeing eye there on the top of your pyramid. I have a sneaking suspicion we're the baddies. And what would give me that idea? This Federal Reserve debt note is a big symbol. So it's being reported. I saw 33, right? 30. So they had to put 33, but we'll just say 30 plus Iranian IRGC fast boats spotted near the Strait of Hormuz. So I guess we're at the White House is at least admitting, oh yeah, they got a bunch of these boats. And so here's satellite image of those boats. Well, they got a bunch of these boats, even though we blew up their Navy, but their other Navy. Huh? Let's see. Where are we at here? Yeah. Are they going to make a deal? I don't know. We're going to see here. So what is the... It's extended. We don't even know, right? 2-3 days, 36, 72 hours. Something. Whatever Bibi tells Trump to do. Here's a Iranian foreign minister, spokesperson. The U.S. is not serious about diplomacy. Yeah. Let's watch this short clip. Well, we are serious. Come over there and we'll whack you. You know what I mean? With the help of the aardvarks, and we'll show you how serious we are about diplomacy and negotiating peace. We set you up with a diplomatic meeting, then we whack you and say, see, we couldn't negotiate. Yeah, what? Because you whacked the negotiators.
No decision has been made. And I think the reason is very clear, because of the confusing messages we have been receiving from the United States. Literally speaking, there have been many violations of ceasefire. You know that during the course of the past 2 days, they have attacked Iranian vessels. They have taken hostage our people on board vessel Tuska. And at the same time, they're continuing with their threats of war crimes, threats of genocide, bombing our bridges and power plants. So this is not the behavior of a country that is really serious about a diplomatic process.
I don't see a lie there. All right, well, we're done with that section. We're going to come back with we're losing the information war. Let's take our live commercial break here. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself a holograph sticker over there. We have holograph stickers. We have the white background and the clear background sticker. Get yourself some stickers at weaponizednews.com/shop. The link's in the description below this video. We have coffee mugs, baseball caps, t-shirts, a bunch of different gear over there. Go check out weaponizednews.com/shop. We appreciate all the patrons to the store, the donations that we get. We appreciate those as well. Help support independent reporting and analysis brought to you 5 days a week, broadcasting live Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern time. Weaponized News all over the internet here on 8 different streaming platforms, fighting through all the censorship. We are growing on some of these platforms. We're up to, and thank you to the subscribers over on the YouTube, we're up to, I think we need like 15 more subscribers to break the 1,000 subscriber threshold on the YouTube to reach all of the thresholds for monetization. And so that could help us out, earn a few pennies more, a few more shekels to put back into this operation, Weaponized News. So we take donations, buy me a coffee, Bitcoin wallet address, and Cash App, all in the description below this video. If you want to become a paid subscriber, Weaponized News Substack channel is in the link below this video. I post the show there after the show stream live on Substack with links to almost everything we talk about here for documentation and your further research purposes. And so that's one way you can become a paid subscriber on Weaponized News Substack channel and show your support that way. We have many different ways to support us, all right in the links below this video. Give us that like, share, subscribe, push the notification button. Any which way you choose to support us is much appreciated. Thank you very much for bearing with me through that commercial message. And welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Earth Day, April 22nd, 2026. And if we add up all those numbers, it equals 666. Just a coincidence, I'm sure, as we're in the season of sacrifice here now. Let's not forget. Okay, on to, we're losing the information war. They just keep cranking out these Lego propaganda videos. Here's another one. New Lego style music video. They wrote Trump a new theme song, Trump Taco Tuesday. Talking about him flip-flopping and flailing all yesterday.
Yeah, you wearing a vest now, baby. You scared? The word is turning cold, the story's being told. Your soul is being sold for the silver and the gold. You're acting bold, but your heart is getting old. The secrets of the island, watch them all unfold. Baby in the vest, put this courage to the test. Running from the east, now he's hiding in the west. But Hungary is waiting, put the warrant in his chest. No place for a coward, no place to find some rest. Trump always chickens out, empty rock is nothing to show. Irons mean it makes you go slow. Ceasefire extends, watch the ego blow. CNN is screaming that your news is getting fake. Every single promise is a heart you're gonna break. Texas is in flames, that's another big mistake. The power of the straight is a risk you cannot take. 2,000 years of wisdom, you're a child in the game. 200 years of history, you're looking pretty tame. The lion's in the water and he's calling out your name. While you're eating tacos, you're drowning in the shame. Farmers in Colorado, they're praying for the rain. Prices going up, yeah. They're living with the pain. No missiles in the warehouse, you're flying on a plane. Empty in the pockets just to keep your little rain. But the trigger's on the finger and the lesson is humane. The eagle's in the cage and he's going quite insane. Trump always chickens out. Empty rock is nothing to show. Irons mean it makes you go slow. Ceasefire extends, watch the ego blow. Yeah. 2,500 years against 250. Do the math, homie. You can't hide behind a vest forever, baby. THCO in the building. We out.
TACO in the building. Ridiculous. Here's more. This one is cash.app meltdown. Even though they did have a good, I'll give them credit on the Southern Poverty Lie Center indictment, but they lose all that credibility with the continuing cover-up of the Epstein files now, don't they? And many other failures coming out of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Lego diss track for Cash Patel here now.
Keystone Cash having a meltdown. Couldn't log in, thought Trump fired him. And the man, what? Keystone Cash, crazy ass poppin' Mickle was direct to fast. Couldn't log in, thought he got fired. What a joke, panicked hard, blowing up phones total. Keystone Cash, bulging eyes wild like he's losing control. Drinking heavy, showing the blade, can't do the job. Suing the Atlantic for 250 mil. What a fraud. April 10th, one glitch, and he lost his mind. Called 9 people screaming, I got fired this time. Make a wish director, agents laughing in the back. While I ran, hacks his email, he has a heart attack. Keystone Cash, real agents, keeping the clowns on the plate, bulging eyes, snapping at the smallest little glitch, biggest clown in the FBI, straight up snitch. You wanted revenge on the deep state, thought you were the man, one login fell and you cried like a little kid down. Now you're suing for $250 million, screaming defamation, paranoid drunk, you're the real embarrassment nation. Keystone Cash, Keystone Cash, crazy eyes popping, make a wish direct to fast. Thought he got fired from a login screen, pathetic ass. I ran still steady, take the defense live situation. Pathetic ass. Keystone Cash, Keystone Cash, BI's biggest joke, walking total trash. Sacred defense. We see them crazy eyes, we see them melt down, we don't forget. What?
Cash Patel at the press conference about the Southern Poverty Law Center indictment did say that he does not have a drinking problem. I wanted to add that, but he can't look at you straight because they are continuing the Epstein files cover up, and no one of any significance in the quote deep state in the government has gotten in trouble for anything here now. Have they? What are they saying? And they dropped the indictment that they had against former head of the CIA, John Brennan. And so they seem to come and go, don't they? Remember they had the indictment against Comey? They had to drop that. Letitia James, they had to drop that. And now John Brennan, they had to drop that. And so they get the headline, "This is what I voted for," all the BS on your social medias. See, we're draining the swamp. Oh, it turns out a week, 2 weeks later, they botched the indictment. It was garbage, essentially, right? And so that's a continuing theme we're seeing out of the Department of Justice under Trump. One more of these Lego videos and about how we're losing the propaganda war. Here is, I wanted to play, this one's been out probably a week. I wanted to play it, but good quality, and I found the high quality one. Here is, what do we do with a drunken Hegseth? What do we do with a drunken I guess I'd be drunk out of my mind too if I had to go out there and constantly lie to the American people and push this Trump administration propaganda all day. I guess I'd be drunk out of my mind every day, like Hegseth and Cash Patel. Can't look at you straight. And then make up fake Bible verses and do America Reads the Bible with the CIA. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Okay, here's what do we do with a drunken Hegseth? Continuing theme of heavy drinking coming out of the Trump administration. And honestly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit.
Well, what shall we do with the drunken Hegseth? What shall we do with the drunken Hegseth? What shall we do with the drunken Hegseth? Early in the morning, way hey, and up she rises. Way hey, and up she rises. Way hey, and up she rises. Early in the morning, he was drinking on the Fox-set before the showtime. He was drinking on the Fox-set before the showtime. He was drinking on the Fox-set before the showtime. Early in the morning, carried out the strip club in his uniform. Carried out the strip club in his uniform. Carried out the strip club in his uniform. Early in the morning. Hey! with a drunken Hexeth? What shall we do with a drunken Hexeth? What shall we do with a drunken Hexeth? Early in the morning, put him in the brig till he finds the real Bible. Early in the morning.
Put him in the brig until he finds the real Bible. Maybe, and that's his account. That's his account, Drew Pounder on the X. That's a different one. There's a bunch of them popping up. The Lego propaganda videos. Man, put him in the brig until he finds the real Bible. Yeah, we're losing the propaganda war, and Trump's playing right into it. Take a look at this. Post from earlier today by Trump. Very good news. I've just been informed that the 8 women protesters who were going to be executed tonight in Iran will no longer be killed. 4 will be released immediately, and 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. I very much appreciate that Iran and its leaders respect my request as President of the United States and terminated the planned execution. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And it turns out these are AI generated from this freaking Aardvark Lamb propaganda account. It's just ridiculous. These are the ones he's talking about. This has already been debunked. These are AI. These are AI images. It's just literally all fake. We're losing badly, bigly, the propaganda war here. Here's what they actually look like. Of course, they're making fun of it now here. The 8 Aardvark women are about to face the death penalty in Aardvark land because they don't meet the quota. They didn't meet the quota for whacking enough Palestinians and Lebanese. And here's their image. Of course, they're making fun of them, right? Oh, man. I think we have more reporting at the end about they're rolling out full-on, looks like Hollywood-style produced AI fake videos of victims, right? We played that clip yesterday. I think we have some more today, later in the show here. And so, yeah. Bobblehead Levitt said to the War Channel, Fox News, said only President Trump could save the lives of these 8 beautiful Iranian women. Trump is a humanitarian at heart. How many we covered? How many Palestinian women and girls that Aardvark land has killed in the genocide? Was it 20,000? I forget even the numbers. It's just, wow. Trump cared a lot about them. They whack some today. They're whacking them right now as I speak. And then this one, MAGA. I never even saw any of this. I don't know what these people are doing on the internet. They're not doing their research about what's going on in this world. That's for sure. They're looking at this garbage. But here's another embarrassing loss in the information war for MAGA. They fell for this. This is AI. It's fake, right? I know it's a hot chick and a hot blonde in a bikini, but drop a American flag if you agree. And oh yeah, she also puts on her MAGA hat and her cowboy boots. Turns out a viral pro-Trump MAGA influencer named Emily Hart is entirely AI generated and created by a 22-year-old medical student in India. He used tools like Google Gemini to design a persona targeting conservative audiences, quickly gaining millions of views and thousands of followers. He monetized it through merch and paid platforms like FanVu, earning thousands per month with minimal effort. Wow. Wow. So we've lost the information war here now, at least MAGA has, because they're looking at AI generated chicks in American flag bikinis, all fake, instead of doing their actual research. And they're believing all the government propaganda and lies, apparently. Very sad state of affairs. Continuing here, the last time 3 members of Congress resigned in 1 week was 1857. And so now we have 3 members of Congress that have resigned within a week. McCormick, Democrat out of Florida, resigned today. Was that today or is yesterday? Excuse me, yesterday. I do believe we reported on that. Eric Swalwell, Democrat out of California, resigned. And then Tony Gonzalez, Republican out of Texas, resigned. All facing ethics investigations there. And again, all of Congress, turn yourselves into the migrant detention centers, into the FEMA camps, and this country would be a whole lot better for it. If you're real American patriots, as you claim, that's what you do. Of course, that will never happen, but that right there exposes the fraud that is Congress. Update on referendum lawsuits. So it turns out they've been battling over the redistricting there in Virginia. And it looked like the Democrats they did win the election yesterday, but turns out the Tazewell Circuit Court just ruled the referendum on the redistricting there unconstitutional. So the judge entered an injunction blocking certification of the election and denied a motion to stay pending appeal. A final order will be entered once drafted, and it will be immediately appealed. That's former. Well, what is he? He's the Virginia. Is he former or current? Anyway, Ken Cuccelli. Is he acting? Anyway, he was either former or acting attorney general there in Virginia. So that's the latest on the redistricting battle in Virginia, the gerrymandering essentially. And it did pass here in California. So it's gerrymandered upon gerrymandered upon gerrymandered. Maybe we should just say, we just let only candidates allowed to run are in Skull and Bones, right? And then we could say that's democracy and scream in everybody's face. We got a dead Democrat here. They ride them till they die. Another argument for term limits. Representative David Scott, 80 years old, dies. Scott, the first black chairman of the House Agriculture Committee, was first elected to Congress in 2002, and he has sadly passed away there now. 80 years old. 80 years old, died suddenly. They don't say that, but yeah. People die when they're 80. You know what I mean? But they ride them to the grave in Congress. Technocracy reporting news. Jason Bassler, Free Thought Project, reminded us of this with this post about President Eisenhower's farewell address, where he said, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific technological elite. This was in his farewell address, warning about the military industrial complex. And so now here we are. What, some 60, 70 odd years later, here we are with Eisenhower's prediction coming true. Captive of a scientific technological elite, i.e. scientific dictatorship, i.e. technocracy. Aaron Day, replying to a Jason Bassler post, let me put this up. Shut it down. I can't stress this enough. Technocracy has accelerated 3 years under Trump. I am traveling and wasn't planning to do my show Thursday, but I might do a special one over the weekend to address the acceleration of Palantir. We'll look for that. Aaron Day, a company founded by the CIA, used for predictive policing, mass data fusion, overseas targeting ops, and founded by Jeffrey Epstein's, quote, great friend, is now responsible for keeping America's food safe. Totally normal, nothing to see here. And of course, the headline out of CNBC, Palantir Inc.'s $300 million deal with USDA to safeguard food supply. And so they can increase the efficiency, I'm sure, of the glyphosate spraying on everything. And that will increase the security of our food supply for national security purposes, I'm sure. So imagine that. They get this whole social credit score system in place. And, hey, they don't like you celebrating Earth Day, whatever, man. They don't like the color of your shirt, whatever. They especially don't like you questioning the war propaganda or whatever. Something that they haven't even done yet, right? And we're like, hey, we don't like that. You know what I mean? And they're like, nope, beep. You're cut off from food now. Thank you very much. And next, we're going to send a drone to go ahead and make sure you're safe. You know what I mean? All this is heading in that direction for sure. And old Alex Karp and Peter Thiel both sit on the Bilderberg Group steering committee. Don't ever forget that. Who these guys are, what they're doing. And then one more from Jason Bassler in regards to technocracy here. He says, till that Sam Altman has a pact with Peter Thiel in the event of social collapse, they will fly to Thiel's 477-acre compound in New Zealand. Funny how the guys engineering the future of humanity are always the first ones mapping their exit plans. So, yeah, why are they all building bunkers and have, is it because of the pole shift? Or is it because they know the dystopic hellscape that they're engineering here now, rolling out technocracy? Or a combination of the two. More surveillance state, police state news here. Again, posted by Jason Bassler. Says Department of Homeland Security is now funding AI smart glasses that record, show a data display, and scan faces. Get to match biometric database watch list of illegal immigrants on the street in real time. First immigrants, then protesters, then you. Yep. Exactly. So they got them out there sporting these Ray-Bans with all that, plus probably a whole lot more technology embedded in there. DHS startles Congress with requests for millions to develop ICE smart glasses. Let's just get those dirty illegals. No, they're going to turn it on you and I, as per usual. Aaron Day says the AI data centers aren't about innovation for free markets. They are the compute power for our digital enslavement, programmable money, digital IDs, social credit scores, and 24/7 AI surveillance. There are AI data centers that could empower human freedom. None of those are being built. Act accordingly, Aaron Day says. We're trying to get him back on the show, too, by the way. Let's see. Oh, this crazy report. This is a crazy one. I believe the Daily Mail first broke this one. DHS counterterrorism official Julia Varvaro under investigation over sugar daddy complaint. This chick. What is up with these? Why do they always have to be just scammers, freaks, freaking weirdos, always trying to run some game? Her? Maybe a hot little number, right? Well, she's a big scam artist. Surprised next to Trump there, Mr. Honest, right? And here's the evidence. The report goes on to say Varro, 29-year-old, Trump's deputy assistant secretary for counterterrorism, is facing a formal Department of Homeland Security Inspector General complaint after a man claims he spent $40,000 in 3 months on luxury trips and Cartier jewelry, and that she told him her collection was trophies from her sugar daddies. She allegedly told him she was above being tested when he warned the arrangement could jeopardize her top security clearance, and texted from a Homeland Security conference. They call me secretary. I like it. I'm the boss princess. A former CIA officer is now asking how a full background investigation missed any of this. The administration that promised to hire only the best is currently investigating its own counterterrorism office. You can't make this up. And yeah, it goes to the Daily Mail there broke this story. And there you go. We wouldn't have it any other way if we didn't have corrupt Trump administration officials. Okay, on to the FBI investigating deaths and disappearances of staff at secretive government laboratories. Report out at ZBS News. They say the FBI is leading the effort to look for possible connections into the cases of 10 missing or deceased scientists and staff who worked at sensitive nuclear or space technology laboratories. Yesterday, the FBI confirmed it is spearheading the effort to look for connections into the missing and deceased scientists. We are working with the Department of Energy, Department of War, and with our state and local law enforcement partners to find answers, they said. Yeah. So that's going on. Emily Eskridge, the 11th in a series among an investigation of missing or dead scientists, sent a text 1 month ago saying she would never kill herself. Her death was ruled a suicide. Here's a post by Hotspot on the X. Let's watch this from Amy.
I found out that I was being physically surveilled by the following method. My ex-boyfriend and I realized that people had been breaking into our apartment while we were gone together in the same vehicle. And so like, I'm in the apartment, I'm about to go to work, and I'm like, why don't you take out the trash and scope out the parking lot and make sure it's okay before I go to work? So he goes out there and he's like, there's this weird fucking Lexus. It's like a silver Lexus. This is a shitty apartment. Like, why is there really nice Lexus in the parking lot? And it has tinted windows that are not street legal, like just totally dark, totally black tinted windows that are not possibly street legal. And so he comes back in and we're standing in our bedroom window looking at the Lexus and talking about it. And I say out loud, maybe we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate. because the Lexus is across the parking lot from us, but it's backed in, so you can't see the license plate. Within 2 minutes of me saying, hey, we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate, we were still standing there at the window looking at it, talking about it. And an Eastern European looking motherfucker with a black beanie, dressed all in black, in his 50s or 60s, walked out of the apartment directly across from ours holding a license plate. And he opened the trunk of the Lexus and he took out some tools and he changed the license plate right in front of our fucking faces. And then he walked back to his apartment and he put the old license plate on the front patio and went inside, left it outside. And it was literally like, come get the license plate. I have more. I have more where this came from. Come get the license plate. And then after that.
And she goes on to say they were following her. And it goes on, pretty creepy stuff there. And we had this yesterday, this David Wilcock. He is alleged to have committed suicide. Is he part of this? As he's into all this woo stuff as well. He said, I plan on living, not suicidal at all, just concerned about what happens when you prove God is real.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary.
So he's alleged to have committed suicide yesterday. Here's another. And honestly, I didn't follow any of his work. He was doing UFOs and whatever other stuff. Not really my thing, but here's a pretty good clip from him, now alleged deceased.
These people honestly believe that they are the descendants of gods, that they are the chosen, that they are God's special people, that we are delusional, and that the true creator is this wisdom principle that they think of as Lucifer, that wisdom principle gave us ancient mystery school teachings, and that the enemy, which they call Adonai, the adversary, which we would call the Christian God, came to try to defeat them. Then they even take it a step further and they look at texts like the Bible and they say that where it says in the end times that God will take the money from the wicked and restore it to the just, that we as a planet are the wicked and they are the just. So this is how they justify their financial corruption. They don't believe that we deserve the money. In fact, they believe that if they did not dominate us and if they did not control us and play all these games, that we left to our own devices would destroy our planet. So in some twisted rationale, they believe they are saving the earth. They believe humans are bad for the environment. We cause pollution, so they have to reduce population. Then they seed that into movies like The Matrix, where Agent Smith says that that humans are like a virus on the planet. This is one of a variety of ways in which they will usually embed their teachings into the villain.
So he is allegedly committed suicide yesterday. And there was this other weird shooting at the pyramid in Mexico as well. And Foundering on X was saying this is part of the season of sacrifice, dark occult rituals. May very well be looking like it's lining up that way. It's looking like it's lining up that way. Report out of Axios says Trump set to reclassify marijuana soon. I thought they already did this. This move follows an executive order from the president last year to reclassify marijuana as a Schedule 3 drug. I don't know what they're going to do about it, but hey, I guess get everybody loaded out of your mind on the marijuana, the psychedelics. half the administration's drunk out of their mind. You know what I mean? And just, trust in Trump. There you go. I guess just get loaded out of your mind and then believe.
Ignore the panicans and trust in President Trump.
That seems to be the plan going forward here now. And just call everybody fake news if they call you out on your lies. Shocking, I know. America's approval rating of Congress is now at a record. Disapproval of Congress ties a record high at 86%. New Gallup poll. So yeah, Republicans are going to lose big time because they have control of all three branches of the fake government, right? The executive, both houses of Congress, and the judicial, actually. They haven't done jack except for start a bunch of wars and keep essentially the status quo going. We've got no meaningful public health reform. We've got no meaningful reform in anything. No one in the deep state or in the government, which is what it really is. No one in the government's got in trouble for all their tyranny, all their legion of crimes. No one gets in trouble. Oh, we indicted them. We indicted John Brennan. Yay, we're getting the deep state. Oh, it turns out, not so much. That indictment's been dropped, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So you see, Republicans are going to lose the midterms here now, unless Trump does something, unless he has a big turnaround here, a big turnaround. But hey, you got Republicans in the Senate. They can't pass the SAVE Act, voter ID. Did Trump, I think Trump maybe signed an executive order, no mail-in voting, even though he did it, right? And so just the credibility shot here now. The credibility of the Republicans is shot by their own actions. By their own actions. Continuing here. Oh, one more post from Aaron Day I wanted to read. He said, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk want the right preoccupied with owning the libs, the left preoccupied with triggering conservatives, so that we will fight each other while they build a digital prison system with our money. Don't fall for it. It's all manufactured bullshit. The goal from the left and the right should be defeat the technocrats. It's 1,000 people versus 8 billion, not 4 billion versus 4 billion. The sooner people figure that out, the sooner we can shut down the ongoing enslavement program. Yeah, it's a 99.999999999 against a 0.00001%. Yep. So imagine this. The Department of Justice actually did something right. They did indict the Southern Poverty Law Center. A grand jury did indict them. And so, of course, the famous sales pitch here, we pay people to be racist so we can fight racism. And that's essentially the Southern Poverty Law Center's business plan, right? Again, here's the some memes from their indictment yesterday. Justice Department announces indictment against Southern Poverty Law Center. The indictment alleges between 2014 and 2023, the Southern Poverty Law Center secretly funneled $3 billion plus in donated funds to white supremacist and extremist groups. And here's a breakdown. Members of white supremacist and extremist groups, including National Alliance affiliate, they were paid $1 million plus. The Aryan Nations affiliate, $300,000 plus. Unite the Right member, $270,000 plus. Former National Alliance chairman, $140,000 plus. Former KKK member, $73,000 plus. And American Front president and felon, $19,000 plus. They got that guy cheap. The American Front, remember these? They would remember the videos. There's a bunch of them. They got the khakis. They're all in the same uniform with the mask. Remember they busted them. Where was it? I want to say like Idaho or Iowa, someplace, all loaded up in the back of a U-Haul. Remember that whole ridiculous thing? And the cops had busted them for illegally riding in the back of a U-Haul or something, I forget. And they had and everybody's saying the cops busted the feds. Everybody knew they were feds because they're so ridiculously stupid. It turns out, yeah, they're rats, feds, whatever you want to call them, piece of garbage. Not true white supremacists here, obviously. And so, yeah, you have to create racism to fight racism, and then anybody we don't like, we throw you in that hate group as well. So, yeah, some good work there, I suppose, but it's counteracted by all the cover-ups and all the other BS. And so here is the indictment. Here's the indictment. Federal grand jury charges Southern Poverty Law Center for wire fraud, false statements, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. National Socialist Party of America, the Ku Klux Klan, and Aryan Nations. Yeah, here's the list, right? These guys are the funniest. The American Front. Aryan Nations affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club. Yeah. And they got a bunch of rat informants in all those groups that are not part of the Southern Poverty Law Center as well, working with the feds. You better believe it, because who is running the organized crime in this country? The U.S. federal government, with alongside all these different groups, gangs, and organized crime outfits. I don't know what gave people the idea that this was fake. The Nazi flag that just got this guy's been sporting it a long time, right? All their flags, they're Confederate flags, they're Don't Tread on Me flags, but especially this one, right? It just got out of the box. So he's been a hardcore neo-Nazi for his whole life, and he just bought this new flag to sport at this the Charlottesville fake event there. Remember all that nonsense? And so, yeah, it's all fake. It's all fake. The Democrats are pushing back. Oh my gosh. Hakeem Jeffrey says the so-called indictments against the Southern Poverty Law Center announced by Todd Blanche and Kash Patel is baseless and illegitimate. These partisan hacks who continue to weaponize the criminal justice system against perceived opponents will never intimidate us. And all of them will be held accountable for their corrupt behavior, no matter what it takes. Yeah, they're all corrupt. Patel, Blanche, Jeffries, your whole government. Nancy Mace, again, trying to build some political capital in her race for South Carolina governor. Now Congresswoman out of South Carolina. She says Congress has tried to keep their wrongdoings quiet for a long time now. Members have been credibly accused of sexual misconduct. Some were investigated. Some resigned before accountability could reach them. Some we still don't know about because their victims were paid off in secret using a fund built with your tax dollars. The Ethics Committee acknowledged it today. The CAA Reform Act they passed in 2018 was supposed to bring transparency, but the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights is still shielding names and settlements from public view. We move to subpoena those records and force full disclosure. No predator should serve in Congress. No survivor should be bought into silence, and no taxpayer should fund a cover-up. Well, I thought that's what we're here for, is for you parasites in the government to do a legion of crimes and then hand us the bill. Isn't that what America's all about? She went on to say the American people have unknowingly been paying for a cover-up. We started this fight. We made the motion to subpoena the sexual harassment slush fund, and we will not rest until these names are released and every predator in Congress has no other choice but to resign. Again, all of them. Get ahead of this and go ahead and turn yourselves into the FEMA camps right now and do your patriotic duty there, Congress. And yeah, the Epstein files cover-up continues. The DOJ is breaking the law right now. Todd Blanche, who's going to be the new Attorney General here now, as Todd Blanche is the acting director, as the ongoing Epstein files cover-up continues here now. So all of that is going on in the background of Congress being a bunch of sex harassers that we can't find out who they are. Can't find out any of the details, even though they use taxpayer money to pay off their victims. Yeah, not much new today, honestly. I guess we should stop talking about it like old Dinesh D'Souza said, right? It's time to move on. No, not time to move on. We're not moving on. Pam Bondi needs to comply with the subpoenas, and the Republicans on the Oversight Committee need to quit playing games, as we reported yesterday. Him hawing and playing all these games about it. Just because she's not the Attorney General doesn't mean she's still not compelled to testify, as the Democrats told us yesterday. Once subpoenaed, you're still compelled to testify. Turns out, Bondi. Well, how's I think the Dow is actually edging toward, maybe that's the thing. I thought if it was under 50,000, then we could arrest all the Epstein co-conspirators. Maybe if it's over 50, I don't know. It's a weird riddle that they got going on in the Justice Department. The Dow Jones Industrial Average today, almost at 50. I don't think it's been at 50 since she had that outburst, but it closed at 49,490 today. So maybe it has to go over 50 for the DOJ to actually go after the Epstein co-conspirators. Oh, but there is none, according to Todd Blanche, and I can't look you straight, Cash Patel. It's where we're at. And again, Operation Epstein Fury, the Iran war took everybody's attention off the Epstein files, rightfully so. I mean, they're blowing up school children, cutting off the 20% plus of the world's energy supply, fertilizer, and other goods. And so it's a major global impact, as we're looking at prolonged energy crisis now being reported by EU Energy Commissioner. The UN has said millions of people are going to starve to death now because of this. And so it was a great distraction job to get our attention focused on the Iran war instead of the Epstein files and the baby eating and the blood drinking and all of their dark occultic rituals. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the Iran war now all day. So it was a great distraction operation by Trump. Continuing here now to economic news. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has signed an executive order prohibiting state employees from using non-public confidential information to bet on prediction markets. And the White House said they're going to look into insider trading as well. Wink, wink. Sure. California's Attorney General alleges that Amazon uses its market power to pressure vendors like Levi Strauss and retailers like Walmart to raise prices on their websites, according to a report out of the Associated Press. They would never game anybody with price fixing like that, would they? Of course they would. Of course they would. So it's 100% illegal, but we'll see. We'll see if anything happens. China's youth jobless rate is at 16.9% in March, according to Reuters. That's extremely high. And can you trust that number? Probably double that number. I don't know. But looking at 17% youth unemployment in China, that's not good. That's not good as they continue to replace the workforce in China with AI and robots. What are they going to do with all the restless youth there on the unemployment rolls? I don't know. We need a major war, right? Right. My former congressman, where I started, or a part of starting my activism here in Fresno, California, way back in the day, Devin Nunes, remember him? He was my congressman. And that was back when I was a naive young man and thought that you could actually lobby Congress about a new investigation into 9/11 and present them some evidence and they would take you seriously. And we went and did that, and we literally got laughed at by Devin Nunes' staff. And so that was a big slap in the face about the real world and my congressman's concerns, which were not looking into 9/11 at all. But since then, he had resigned from Congress and went on to become CEO of Trump Media. He went ahead and tanked that company. I don't know how he was qualified to be CEO of anything. He was allegedly a farmer here from the South Valley and in Congress. And so he wound up resigning from Trump Media after taking a $712 million net loss. And so turns out he's not a very good CEO as far as being in the black in the net profit column there. Maybe that was all part of the plan. Big loss for tax purposes. I don't know. Trump's got a lot of businesses. Maybe it was part of his tax strategy, but that does seem like quite a bit of a net loss there for Trump Media. $712 million net loss. And we see the resignation of Devin Nunes there. Continuing here, American crops, American beer, American jobs, but not American company, right? Because Anheuser-Busch is no longer an American company, but they are being touted here by the Secretary of the USDA, Secretary of Agriculture here, Brooke Rollins. They're being touted for a $600 million investment in American manufacturing. And so they can crank up the alcohol production for the Trump administration, because God knows they all need to be heavily drinking. Here is a short clip. This is an older one, but in the context of the Iran war, it's right on time. It's Tucker interviewing Catherine Austin Fitts. This is a flashback to 2024, I believe.
And I think one of the reasons we're seeing so much tension around Iran is because Iran right now is the big leakage in the system.
How?
So,
it's not about their nukes?
No. So, well, Iran's central bank counts. One of the reasons it counts is because their oil and energy is very important, including for China.
Yeah.
And that's very important in the BRICS system. What the BRICS system is trying to do is to create independent payment systems. But if you're going to come out with programmable money, with digital IDs that are interoperable globally and programmable money that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. And so you've got way too much leakage in the system to proceed with what they're trying to do. And Iran and the BRIC nations are a sticking point. And certainly Iran's oil, feeding China gives China greater independence.
And she was saying that, 2 years ago? Pretty right on. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bitchute said future prices are much lower than we are at present. I think the conflict will end. I think gasoline prices will come back to where they were, or perhaps lower. President Trump has shown that he is good at getting energy prices down. Future prices are much lower than we are at present. Garbage. He knows better. He knows better. And so a barrel of oil now is back above $100, closing today at $101. According to Market Watch here, oil supply chain disruptions are starting to take hold beyond $4 a gallon gasoline. Yeah. We're starting to see it throughout the economy. We're going to continue to see increased prices across for everything that has to be shipped. Let's take a look at AAA national average for the price of a gallon of gasoline. And it went up today. It did go up a penny today. Here's our AAA national average for the price of a gallon of gasoline, $4.02. And you can see yesterday it was $4.01. Oh no, yesterday, maybe it didn't go up. It went down 0.02 cents. So, and they're still killing us here in California, $5.82. So I guess it went down a 0.20%, right? Not much movement there, but we can expect it to come back up tomorrow as Strait of Hormuz is still blocked, essentially. Here is former British Petroleum CEO Lord John Brown says he believes a net zero future is the answer to the problems UK has now, and warns that climate change is not a hoax, it's real. So yeah, we're going to get to net zero one way or another.
Coin a term beyond petroleum for BP rather than just British Petroleum. Do you still believe that actually a greener future, a net zero future, is the answer to the problems we have now, bringing prices down as well?
Oh yes, I do. Timescales are a different matter, but modern renewables, wind, solar, and batteries are in the country. They're very secure and they're cheap. They really are getting cheaper every day, in amongst other things. So long term, it's essential. And climate change is not a hoax. It's real, and it is affecting things, and we need to reduce the impact of it on this nation and other nations. Otherwise, our future is is going to be a very different future.
I like on Sky News, they ran UK inflation rises to 3.3% as fuel prices soar. With some of their 33 calms going on there. Continuing here, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy seized 2 ships for alleged violations and escorted them to Iranian shores. That was announced earlier today. At least 3 ships fired upon by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz in one day. At least 3 container ships were targeted by gunfire in the Strait of Hormuz today, according to maritime security sources and the UK Maritime Trade Operations. Asian vessels expected to resume Hormuz transit sooner than Western fleets. Report out of the Cradle, they say Asian ship owners may soon resume transits through the Strait of Hormuz as they are considered more willing to accept high risks and can handle toll payments, unlike Western firms that comply with sanctions, shipping executives said at the Financial Times Commodities Global Summit today. I don't know. You want to make a deal with Iran and not get shot in the face? You want to make a deal with America and not get shot in the face? That's like where we're at, right? Make a deal or get shot in the face, and you still may get shot in the face. So it's very risky now in the Strait of Hormuz, transiting through there, right? Yeah. Clearing Iranian mines from the Strait of Hormuz could take up to 6 months, the Pentagon told Congress. The estimate was shared in a classified briefing to the House Armed Service Committee, according to the Washington Post. The war ain't even over, bro. Come on, man. 6 months to clear mines. Lifvensois cuts 20,000 short-haul flights amid soaring fuel costs linked to the Iran war. That's a Dutch outfit. These guys. The airline group said in a statement released late yesterday that the cuts represent 1% of available seat kilometers and are expected to save about 40,000 tons of jet fuel. So companies are already doing what they got to do, facing increased fuel costs and shortages. U.S. blocks delivery of Iraqi oil reserves or revenues, to pressure Baghdad into disarming resistance. Trump administration has frozen security cooperation programs with Baghdad and blocked dollar shipments from reaching Iraq in a bid to pressure the government to dismantle Iran-backed resistance organizations, according to a report out of the Wall Street Journal. A cargo plane delivery of nearly $500 million in U.S. banknotes that proceeds from Iraqi oil sales from Federal Reserve Bank in New York accounts was blocked by the Treasury Department because of U.S. concerns about militias there in Iraq. So, yeah, let's sanctions, starve the Iraqis again. Let's kill more Iraqis, right? Because we can't get enough Iraqi blood, apparently. And so now, targeting Iraq. And who suffers? Joe Blow Iraqi. Trying to get the Iraq government to do something about the Iranian militias operating in Iraq. Good luck with that. But Joe Blow Iranian will suffer the consequences. Thank you very much for that. Remember the famous Albright, right? Was it worth it killing 500,000 Iraqi children? Well, yeah, it was worth it, right? To paraphrase that whole incident. Continuing here, Secretary of Navy John C. Flynn is departing the administration effective immediately. And so he's also on the Epstein list as well. We covered it when it broke. So why is he leaving? I don't know. But he is leaving. Secretary of the Navy, John C. Flynn, out of there today. Here's meme of the day from the Department of War, bragging about our directed energy weapons. For our posterity, they're going to go ahead and shoot a drone with a laser, apparently in this meme. We will defend our nation for future generations. And so now they're just openly bragging all over the place at the Department of War about their directed energy weapons. More from the Department of War, Undersecretary Michael. He says, to the innovators and entrepreneurs, we're open for business. We're removing the red tape. We won't stop working to provide our war fighters with the overwhelming technological advantage to dominate any domain or warfare, any domain of warfare. And so, yeah, they're handing out big War Department contracts. Pitch your best killing idea to them. They'll love it. Probably get a bunch of money. I don't know how you can live with yourself, but I guess that's up to you and your own conscience there, as they're constantly pitching the arsenal of freedom, right? We covered it. How wonderful the military-industrial complex is and how wonderful their weapons of war are. Is Skynet live? I don't know. Southcom yesterday was, they established the autonomous command, right? Covered that. And so there's a lot of operations going on in Central and South America right now, very underreported, part of building the greater North American project. U.S. Southcom reports, they're doing naval exercises with Chilean forces right now. The Nimitz carrier group is doing naval exercises there with Chile right now. U.S. Marines, they put this out. Dude shooting a gun, right? It's from U.S. Southcom. They say here's a U.S. Marine with his unit there, 22nd MEU. He engages a target during deck shooting aboard the USS San Antonio. U.S. military forces deployed in the Southcom area of responsibility are supporting Operation Southern Sphere, operations directed by the Department of War and President, priority to disrupt illicit drug trafficking and protect the homeland. They're doing extrajudicial assassinations, murdering these alleged narco drug traffickers as part of Operation Southern Sphere. Southcom went on to report here, contributing to security and stability in Central America, military and security forces from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, Belize, and Dominican Republic, and the United States are together training during exercise CENTAM Guardian 26 in El Salvador. The Southcom sponsored exercise is focused on sharpening readiness and intrability to address dynamic security challenges, including transnational threats, national disasters, and humanitarian crises. Remember, Hegseth said, Trump has a vision of greater North America. And this article from Common Dreams says, critics alarmed by a greater aardvark land parallel. Oh? Couldn't be, right? Couldn't be, wouldn't be. Turns out it's a thing. To remind everybody, we're building this greater North America project out, and it looks very similar to the American Technate of America map, right? Right here. Indeed, indeed. So we've already taken Venezuela here. Cuba's next. We'll probably take all this, Central America, may take Mexico, Canada, and Greenland. And then we'll have our region of the one world government, the Greater North America Project, that old Pete Hegseth said they had on the map on the wall of the Pentagon war planning room. During peace talks with the U.S., Ukraine floated the idea of naming part of the Donbass region there. That's the part of what kicked off this whole most evil man in the world, Putin, Russia, unprovoked attack on Ukraine, right? The Donbass region, where they were under attack by the Nazis for years, right? The Azov and others, probably run by the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? Wouldn't surprise me. Anyhow, they floated the idea of renaming the Donbass region to Donnyland as a way to appeal to President Trump and encourage stronger U.S. support against Russia's territorial demands, according to a report out of the failing New York Times. This area would be named Donnyland. So I guess Russia would, if they name it Donnyland, then Ukraine gets to keep that. I don't know. It's beyond the pale of stupid. People are still dying. Peace, bro. Stop it. And a big part of that's now part of the Russia-Ukraine war is blowing up each other's energy infrastructure. Looks like part of a bigger plan here now, isn't it? To bring about energy shortages and food shortages and everything that basically the modern economy runs on energy, right? Takes these inputs to produce outputs. And so it's going to affect everything along the supply chain accordingly here now. China warns West Asia at critical junction after U.S. extends Iran ceasefire. China warned today that West Asia is at a critical juncture following Trump's decision to extend a ceasefire. They say, that is China, out of the foreign ministry spokesperson, Jia Kun, said the current regional situation stands at a critical juncture, transiting between war and peace. The paramount priority remains to make every effort to prevent a resumption of hostilities. I think things are pretty damn hostile right now, Mr. Chinese Foreign Minister, man. And we know it is, as Catherine Austin Fitts said, in a way, partially backhanded attack against China and their relationship with Iran and BRICS. as we're in many different Cold Wars now against China, right? We got the space race, we got the AI race, we got the energy race, all these different Cold Wars, right? And the dispute over Taiwan as well. China says that's part of one China. We say no, they're independent Taiwan. Are we going to go to war with China over Taiwan? Maybe. All that's going on in the background here now. EU approves massive loan for Ukraine after Kiev allows Russian oil flows to resume. This guy's Cash Patel eye. Maybe it's a thing they catch. I don't know. But Aardvark Land ambassador to Berlin, Ron Prosor, says, if an aardvark is beaten because he is an aardvark, how is that not antiseptic? Don't buy from Aardvark Land means don't buy from aardvarks. He's got the same crooked eye thing going on here as old Cash Patel. He has a hard time looking you straight in the face when he's shoveling this propaganda.
So how should I understand it? Someone who really beats a Jew because he's a Jew and doesn't shout Mein Kampf is basically not an anti-Semite. We need to define those things. And I'll give you another example. With Lahav Shani, the conductor of the Munich Philharmonic Orchestra, okay? Belgium wanted to boycott the symphonic orchestra because he's a Jew. This is clear. When you have slogans now in Germany saying, don't buy from Israel, this is the continuation of don't buy from Jews in the Second World. Clear things.
And the aardvarks, you see them all over posting the Torah aardvarks, right? And these other groups that say they're not part of the Zionists and they keep complaining. I see their posts all over, right? They say, you keep complaining aardvarkism with Zionism, and that's giving us a bad name, right? And so maybe the Southern Poverty Law Center can fund a fake white supremacist to beat up an aardvark and then scream Mein Kampf, and then this guy can get his wish. I'm sure that's in their deck of false flag hoax attacks that they become famous for here now. Okay, continuing. Where are we at? We're in the geopolitical section. I got to blast through this. We still got a lot of stuff. Let's see. Yeah. Well, Aardvark Land, tragically enough, whacked another journalist today. Blew up her car. Here's her car. And her crime, reporting on their ethnic cleansing going on there in southern Lebanon. She was a reporter for Al Akbar, right? God is great. You know what the terrorists, they say always scream? Allah Akbar. God is great. So they whacked her. I think we had an image of her. Did we? They've been doing a lot of bad stuff, as per usual. No, we didn't. I think in this initial reporting, we didn't even know. We weren't 100% sure, but yeah, turns out they whacked this journalist. Let me try to find a picture of her quickly here. Who had it? And X is all glitchy, per usual, right? With all of their games they play. Here, let's see if I can find a image of this dead reporter that the Aardvarks whacked earlier today in southern Lebanon. Trying to try. We're at like over 250, right? 250 dead journalists whacked by Aardvark Land, all in their own self-defense, right? Yeah, Lebanese journalist is whacked. Emil Kali. Thought we had a good image of her. Maybe not. They had her in all her gear. Anyway, this is the best image we can find. They whacked her. Here it is. Sadly enough, over 250 journalists whacked there. The latest one earlier today. You can see here, Jeremy Lafredo says, I reported on what appears to be the targeted Aardvarkland assassination of Lebanese journalist Emil Khalil. Yeah. They whacked her. They blew up her car. Because, of course, Hezbollah was, hiding in the trunk, I suppose. There. Now she was reporting on the ethnic cleansing ongoing war crimes that are committed by Aardvarkland against the Lebanese. Yeah, it was a brutal murder, a targeted assassination. Indeed. And that's a continuing theme. Let's see. After the enemy targeted resistance fighters in this village, it proceeded to bulldoze it. And so, yeah, they're leveling the whole place there in southern Lebanon, just like they did in Gaza and continue to do in Gaza, actually. Here's some smoke. You could see the ongoing bombing campaigns there in the background. Earlier today, southern Lebanon, leveling the place. Nearly half of Polish citizens say Aardvarkland crimes against Palestinians compare to Nazi Germany. And then this brave Polish prime minister calling it out as it is. Sorry. And sadly to report to you here now, but this is an accurate representation about what is going on there. In Poland, 45% of respondents agreed with a statement that Aardvarkland's actions against Palestine are no different from the Nazis' treatment of the Aardvarks. They also whacked a lot of Polish too. You don't hear the Polish never-ending victims, right? They whacked the Nazi Germans whacked a lot of Polish in World War II. They're not crying all day about it, right? There's one group. All sides lost a lot of people. One group cries about it all to this day, right? One group. The perpetual victims. 45% of Poles say, yeah, covered that. They know. They're not stupid. Should be higher than that, actually. Probably afraid to even answer the question. Here's Likud. That's Bibi's party, right? Comptroller. Oh, an accountant over there. Our favorite, Aardvarkland accountants. Shaya Gali openly calls for genocide in Lebanon on Aardvarkland TV. He said, we need to do exactly what we should have done in Gaza. They did do that in Gaza. Let's watch this short clip from these psychopaths. And this is a window into their mindset.
הסיפור הזה עם ממשלת לבנון זה חרטוט, זה בדיוק כמו לסמוך על המתונים שיגנו לנו מקיצונים. זה בדיוק...
זה לא שמישהו סומך עליהם, אתה יודע.
זה כמו רש"ב, אבל הם גם אויב. הרי גם הם מורכבים אישיים, ביום שלא חיזבאללה, גם הם יכולים להתהפך עלינו. אנחנו נתלה את ביטחוננו בממשלת לבנון, גם אם היא תשב על הגבול, ונניח היא ריסנה את החיזבאללה. אז אני יכול לחיות עם חיילים לבנונים שיושבים על הגבול? לא צריך לפוצץ בית, צריך לעשות בדיוק מה שהיינו צריכים לעשות גם בעזה, לעשות מצור על כל הכפרים שם, אין יוצא, אין נכנס, מי שנשאר שם,
אין אנשים חוץ
אם הם יצאו אז עוד יותר טוב, אז אני לא מבין מה הרתיעה שיש.
So they even got their accountants on Aardvarkland TV calling for genocide on the Lebanese now. U.S. Embassy in Beirut urges American citizens to evacuate Lebanon. Yeah, because they're blowing the hell out of the place. Our greatest ally there. And the genocide in Gaza continues, tragically enough. This was earlier today before another massacre, but in the past 24 hours, according to the Gaza Ministry of Health, one Palestinian was killed, in addition to another that died from previous injuries. So that's 2. And then an additional 4 injuries were reported in the last 24 hours. And then, well, here's a time lapse of them leveling Gaza City. This is the Gaza Strip, Palestine. And they're doing the same thing right now to southern Lebanon. And on it goes, creating an apocalyptic hellscape, leveling the place. Aardvark Land has committed another civilian massacre in Gaza. This was earlier today. At least 5 killed, 3 of whom are children, in a strike on Bitchute, Lahia. This is what Aardvark Land calls a ceasefire. And there's video of the dead kids. I won't even show it to you because it's just horrific. It's war porn at this point. You know what I mean? It's horrific. Dead little kids.
A CBS News investigation has uncovered a loophole that allows accused and convicted American pedophiles to escape justice by moving to Israel.
Jewish Community Watch, an organization that hunts down accused pedophiles who flee to Israel from the U.S., exploiting a process called Law of Return, whereby any Jewish person can move to Israel and automatically gain citizenship. The ease with which pedophiles seem able to use this law as an escape route haunts victims like Mendy Hawk, who says he was abused from age 8 by a teacher at an Orthodox Jewish school in Los Angeles. Yom Tov pled guilty in 2002 to sexually abusing and committing lewd acts against 3 other boys. He served jail time, but when he was released, he violated his probation and, according to JCW, fled to Israel with help from individuals within the Orthodox Jewish community. JCW tracked Yom Tov down and confronted him with a hidden camera in Jerusalem, where he admitted to illegally fleeing the United States with help and using a fake passport to enter Israel.
I was supposed to stay for 5 years in the same city. I was supposed to jump on the side of yourself. I was supposed to go every 2 weeks to the police station. I left within a week later.
The district attorney here in Los Angeles told us they have not requested Yom Tov's extradition and that they had no other comment. Jewish Community Watch says that is the problem. If American officials don't try to get accused pedophiles from Israel, then they simply escape justice and leave children at risk.
It certainly.
And that's a continuing theme we see out of Aardvark Land, isn't it now? Old smoke trick, finance minister, put out this post praising, congratulations to Hodya Cohen, the new world Bible champion. Hodya, you have once again proven that the Bible is not merely a book of history, but the living and beating compass of the people of Aardvark Land in their land. Your magnificent mastery of the Bible, of the book of books, is a tremendous source of pride for religious Zionism and for the state of Aardvark land as a whole. They've, again, the Schofield Bible has corrupted the Bible with their Zionism. Oh, and by the way, yeah, there's a bunch of they don't discriminate. They're whacking. They don't care what you are, actually. But if you want to be a Christian, or you want to be a Muslim or a freaking Buddhist or a Hindu, whatever the hell religion you want, they don't discriminate. They will whack you there, here now.
Prime Minister Netanyahu said he was saddened by the images of an Israeli soldier defacing a statue of Christ in southern Lebanon. But is he also saddened by the constant pressures put on the Christian community in Jerusalem and the outright attacks from violent settlers against the Christian village of Taibe in the West Bank? I visited that village last August, just after one of the attacks had been launched against it. And the IDF often provides cover to these violent settlers who are attacking villages, including the Christian village of Taibe. Maybe Prime Minister Netanyahu should be saddened about those attacks, and not just saddened, but actually do something about the attacks by violent settlers against a Christian village like Taibe or other places throughout the West Bank. Expressing sadness is fine, but it's not enough.
It's part of their program because they have to annex the occupied West Bank, right? Right, because they're building the Greater Aardvark Land Project. That was Senator Chris Van Hollen, and I do want to give him credit for getting that American youth that was imprisoned there, right? I believe his lobbying efforts did get that Palestinian American youth out of prison there. So Senator Chris Van Hollen out of Maryland. According to local sources, dozens of Aardvark land settlers set fire to Palestinian homes in the village of Bin Irin in the occupied West Bank overnight. Settlers surrounded the property and prevented the family from escaping as the blaze spread. Witnesses say stones were thrown at the house while it was burning. At least 8 people were injured in the incident, including a 1-year-old child. There's video of it, of these maniacs lighting their house on fire and standing out there with if you try to escape the fire, they're going to throw a rock at your face. I mean, and they probably had other weapons as well. Earlier today, an estimated 40 Aardvark land settlers associated with the Bashan Pioneers settler movement breached the border fence near Majidal Shams in Syria's occupied Golan Heights, advancing half a kilometer into Syria's Hatter village, calling for Aardvark land government approval of Aardvark settlements in the area. This latest incursion is one of multiple that have taken place over the last 2 years that have targeted Syrian territory that the group has described as a new phase of Zionist expansion. And so we do have a short clip of remember, the BBC told us these are the ultra-Zionist, complete. You want to talk about anarchists and road warrior? Here it is. I guess with the, in almost every case, with the Aardvark land government blessing. Here's these maniacs, the settlers, ultra Zionists. Maniacs. But they gotta take all this, right? They gotta take southern Lebanon and some of Syria. They still gotta get some of Jordan and probably some of Egypt over here. They gotta take all of this for the Greater Aardvark Land Project. All right. We're almost done here. Aardvark Land forces raid a bakery in the occupied West Bank, violently assault employees and wreck the place. Here's a clip of that. No audio on this, but you can clearly see they're chasing the terrorist bakers. There you go. Wow. Yeah. I guess better than shooting them, just beating them up, roughing them up a little bit there. Yeah, that's some terrorist bread you're making. Wow. So there you go. That bakery looked like a sinister threat to me. This Palestinian young man was killed. Awada. This guy right here. He was shot dead in the occupied West Bank, east of Ramallah. Then old smoke trick. Says it right here. Finance Minister to Aardvark Land, smoke trick, one of our favorite genocidal villains out of a bad dystopic comic book, but yet he's the real Mr. Samaria. He says today here in Samaria, the prophecies of comfort are no longer a dream. They're the view from the window. Since the previous Independence Day, we've approved 75 new settlements, and the revolution doesn't stop. Happy Independence Day.
מיום העצמאות שעבר ועד יום העצמאות הזה אישרנו 75 יישובים.
All that's illegal, war crime, they don't care. And then Ben Gvir, he said, we celebrate independence. They celebrate the changes in the prison. And here's a short clip. He's bragging about, torturing prisoners here. A complete psychopath, Ben Gvir.
אנחנו חוגגים עצמאות. הם חוגגים את השינוי בבתי הכלא. לא חוגגים סטייקים, פרגיות, שישלי. הם חוגגים עם לחם יבש. אנחנו חוגגים מוזיקה, איזה מוזיקה יפה לנו. הם חוגגים עם רימוני אלם. חג עצמאות שמח. אנחנו חוגגים.
And so he loves torturing Palestinian prisoners. They're gang raping them with knives, sticking it up their rectum, raping them with dogs, torturing them, starving them to death. Who knows what other sadistic torture they're doing to them just for shits and giggles, because these are, I mean, what do you even say? Demonically possessed psychos. And then to wrap up this broadcast, as we're almost at 3 hours, give me a like, share, subscribe. We covered quite a bit of news here today, but we're going to wrap up the broadcast here with American. This is a YouTube series called Subway Takes. The rock group The Strokes frontman describes American Zionists getting white privilege, but talk like they're black people during slavery, right? How long is this? It's like a 2-minute clip here. Let's watch this conversation on the New York subway.
You want the most controversial one? I know you do.
Yeah, give it to me.
Well, it's been nice having a career with you.
Same. Let's go down with the ship, Captain.
American Zionists get the benefits of, white privileged people, but talk like they are black people during slavery.
100% agree. I've never seen something so where they're like, I'm so
oppressed.
I'm an oppressed person. I'm like, you are going to a wedding in Tel Aviv right now when there are 80,000 dead people, and more, 80,000 plus dead people, including women and children, half a mile away. Absolutely fucked and totally, you know what? I don't think it's bad to say that.
I mean, just for the people that are going to be like, Hamas, October 7th, yes, bad, but, Native American rebellions didn't mean it was, okay to do what we did. Slave rebellions that were violent didn't mean that, slavery is not bad. You know what I mean? So that's the scope of that answer, just to be for the haters,
for the media illiterate.
I don't want to, indoctrination is such a strong thing. We want to be part of the tribe. And if, we started burning weirdos, and so everyone just genetically almost wants to be normal. So I get it, but it is a sad fact, the brainwashing of just people in general, where you can't be mad just because someone was something was rammed down their throat necessarily.
Yeah. The ultimate victims, right? The Polish now. But we're not allowed to criticize them, right? It's like you said, yeah, you're going to a wedding in Tel Aviv, and right down the block, you guys wiped out. You did a genocide. That don't square, and we are allowed to say that's wrong and bad, okay? And yeah, this Polish prime minister got it right, sadly enough. All right, friends. Well, let's take a look at the latest headlines out of Iran International, see if they've not blown up the world or we have world peace. What has happened here lately in this time span of our broadcast here on 3 hours? Iran seizes ships in Hormuz as fragile truce hangs in balance. Explosions heard in eastern and western Tehran. Iran nearing breaking point under military and economic pressure. Cruz says. Oil prices ease after gains as Iran-U.S. tensions persist. Who backs war now? CENTCOM says 31 vessels redirected under Iranian blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Who can do a better block? Well, I have the greatest blockade, right? That's Trump, right? We have the golden blockade. Okay, what's the latest out of Al Jazeera here? Blockade and threats. Iran blames U.S. siege of ports for stalled talks. We've covered exactly what the Iranian demands are to even have talks. And again, Aardvarkland refuses to stop their expansion program, their ethnic cleansing and genocide programs. And that's what it's coming down to. And every time a peace deal or ceasefire or whatever they want to call it is even attempted to be negotiated, they go ahead and start whacking a bunch of people, do a bunch of massacres, right? That's the continuing trend here. Panama condemns Iran's illegal seizure of vessels sailing under national flag. Iran seizes 2 ships. We reported that. And Aardvarkland kills Lebanese journalists. We reported that. That's the latest headlines there. So it's not looking good. Peace prospects are not looking good here now. And the never-ending lying at an Orwellian level coming out of the White House makes me want to drink like Cash Patel and old Pete Hegseth as well. And so we saw 3 members of Congress resign in the last week. We saw the Secretary of the Navy resign. As we're on day 54 of the Iran war. All right, let me go over to Odysee. We have John, Deep, Huffman, Jim. They're in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's see here. Huffman says the Cambridge Disinformation Summit had a presentation by Michael Mann, the hockey stick climate change graph, on YouTube the other day. Told me I shouldn't be listening to alternative podcasts. I know, man. What are you gonna do? Wasn't his hockey stick graph already debunked? I think it was, but they don't care, right? Remember ClimateGate scandal? They got exposed, right? A long time ago. They don't care. I hope Gurr is lurking and heard all them glyphosates. Let's see. We have reserved currency for the moment, John said. For the moment. It looks like they're doing everything they can to, well, who knows what they're doing. I mean, it seems like Trump's out of his mind right now. We'll see what old the new chair, which looks like a, well, they're going to steal as much as they can from us and then phase it out, right? That's the plan. Deep said Iran playing along with all of it, waiting until 20 minutes after the market closed to discredit all of Trump's supposed lies. There is no Zog defense. The NWO are in control of every state. They're destroying all of energy structure on Earth, just as they had outlined in the Georgia Guidestones. Yeah, that's a good reference there. Deep, the Georgia Guidestones. Let us not forget that. Apparently, Palantir has a manifesto now. I read it. I read it on the air here, 2 days ago, I think. John said the oligarchs are also engineering famine to continue their depopulation agenda. This oil crisis dovetails nicely with the WEF plans to get us out of our cars and into 15-minute open air prisons. Yeah. Have you seen the hunger stones? No, I haven't seen that. Deep says maintain humanity under 500 million. Yeah, in perpetual balance with nature. Guide production wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Quoting the Georgia Guidestones there. Yes, indeed. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Indeed. Indeed. Really old stones that are supposed to be underwater. I think Huffman's talking about the hunger stones. No, I have not seen that. We should probably look that up here. The hunger stones, huh? Have warnings carved into them about drought and famine, different places around the world. I haven't. Hunger stones. I'm going to write that down. We'll have to take a look at that. Hunger stones. That's worth looking into. And yeah, don't forget the Georgia Guidestones that they blew up and no one ever got in trouble for. And they'll say it never even existed. You're crazy. And you're like, but it's very well documented. It doesn't matter. They'll gaslight you anyway, right? Let's see here. Yeah, that was interesting. John said, what are the hunger stones? It's like kidney stones, but when you're angry. I predict a large crop of hunger stones in 2027. Indeed. So again, all of these stoppages and taking energy production offline, it takes a minute to work its way through the supply chain. So we are, like John said, in 2027, really going to, and what else are they going to do between now and then, right, to send shocks into the global economy, causing disruptions in the supply chain? What else are they going to do? But yeah, we're definitely going to see it next year. And as this year develops as well, shortage of seeds, shortage of fuel, shortage of fertilizer, shortage of all the goods needed to produce agriculture, right? The food that we need to eat. I'll say you're bad for eating next. Yeah, well, I guess we are. Deep says it's the size of New Jersey. If it wanted aardvark land gone, they'd be gone by now. Yeah. I don't know. We were told the story the Iron Dome keeps them safe, right? And it looks like that was all bogus. John says, I wonder why all those skyscrapers still stand in Tel Aviv. How much collusion is there between warring states today? Deep says, it's all a game. Iran could have wiped out every aardvark government building off the map the night after they took out all the radar and high altitude air defense of the Iron Dome. F them all. Yeah, it looks that way, right? Looks that way. Hey, and never forget Operation Lockstep. During the bat times, all these governments operated their public health policy in lockstep. Besides a couple guys in Africa and the Haiti, I think it was a Haiti dude. There was a couple rogues out there not in lockstep with the global public health agenda, and they are no longer with us. Remember all of that. So yeah, it looks like they are using Joe Blows, you and me, aardvarks, Iranians, Americans, everybody as cannon fodder. Yeah, and at the top level, they're all working in lockstep. Award, one world government agenda, And we're very public about our region of one world government building the greater North American project here. All right, thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee, keeping that chat lively and informative. Thank you for tuning in on X, Twitch, Kick, Bitchute, YouTube, and Rumble. One final comment from Huffman on the Odysee says, Ukraine and Iran both need to be cleared from the Belt and Road, ain't they? All right, over to, let's check out the Rumble and the YouTube chats here. My scroll is not working too good. Maybe I got too much stuff going on my computer. Well, maybe I can't get to it. Scroll, sucker. Doesn't want to scroll for me. Maybe I'm not going to get to... I see a lot of comments over there, but I just can't seem to scroll up on them. Anyway, guys, I'm tired. Put on over a 3-hour show here for you. Yeah, the computer's lagging. I probably got too much stuff going on. I'm not going to be able to read the... Hey, shout out to everybody in those comments on the YouTube and the Rumble. My scroller's not working here. It's like lagging and messing with me. And honestly, I'm tired at this point. But everybody that tuned in and kept those chats lively, thank you. It's much appreciated. I do see Denver, Jan, Fat Bob. Thank you guys for tuning in. Before X F me, I asked him how he squared the murder of the schoolgirls to the narrative as first target. He never answered. I was talking about Ortel at the start of his babbled the BS Iran regime, decades of terrorism, like a program fool. Wilcox and Gaylords, how do these words that comprise these names end up together as surnames? I don't know, man. What would explain that? I don't know. It's all a coincidence, supposedly. The guy just let's see, what do they say? Aardvark land is Amalek, Denver said. Yeah, let's just wrap it up with that. Let's wrap it up with that. Again, I would like to get to more of your comments, but my mouse is just not, this thing's not cooperating with me today. Jen says, say no to drugs. Indeed. Indeed. What is Rose on the YouTube says 83 applications for 8 apprenticeships at my work in Scotland. Wow. So the youth are looking for apprenticeships there, apparently, according to Rose on the YouTube in Scotland. And there's not enough positions there, at least at her firm. Yeah, Fat Bob says I'll drink to that. Along me, you, and Cash Patel and Hegseth, right? We'll all drink to that. All right, friends. Thank you for tuning in to this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News on this 54th day of the Iran war. Sadly enough to report to you here now, the ethnic cleansing, genocide, Greater Aardvark Land project continues. And as long as that goes, all this stuff is going to continue. Sadly enough. And it looks like it has the full backing of Trump and his administration. So full steam ahead. All right. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening. And we'll be back here with Ruckus hopefully tomorrow for Thursday edition of Weaponized.